Hello. So, this is gonna be probably my first video. Not my first, but one of the first, if not the first video on this YouTube channel. Depending on if I delete some videos. Because a lot of videos just on this YouTube channel aren't really about what I want to turn this YouTube channel into. So here's the first video. Maybe I might delete them. I know that made so much sense. Me just rambling on, but. Today I'm going to make a video, and it's a video about Lucifer. I know, really, shocker. But what I want to do is just basically go around the cultural context and explain, like, what is Lucifer? What is the idea? What is the person? And I use person very lightly. Just basically what is it? So, first, I think introduction is in order. I'm Rye. I study religious studies and religious anthropology. I'd like to know I'm not an expert, and I do not have a degree in this. I study it purely for my own enjoyment, and I hope to go to college for it one day, but that is still in the process. That's still in the works. So keep in mind I'm not an expert. So if you hear something that's wrong, or if I don't go into too much detail about stuff, just know I might go into that in the future, or I might get stuff wrong. If you tell me, I will gladly hear you. And if you think some things are just flat out wrong and completely just BS, well then tell me. Obviously, I want constructive feedback because I've never made a long length video before. So besides I think one, and the one I made was very rambly, didn't have any script. So here we go. So this video is going to have a script, and I use that again in air quotes as a again in air quotes. I use that in air quotes. And the reason I use that in air quotes is because it doesn't necessarily have, like, say this at this point. It more so says talking points. So, the next section in this, it's broken up in 10 sections. They are not in order, so bear with me. I wrote them, except I wrote the end as section 6, and I went to like 10 other ones, or sorry, 9 other ones. I have 10 written down, but I never filled the 10, so it's a very faulty script. I'm sorry. I wrote this in a rush. So, first we're just going to talk about some translations. So, the personal Bible I use is LSV, and this Bible is interesting because it is a kind of building off of the work of the Young's literal translation, and so it has some things here and there that are not exactly the most accurate or the most important, or sorry, not the most important, the most accurate and the most faithful, but because it builds off another's work. And I like to just say some interpretations every now and again. If I get these wrong, I'm sorry, because the list I'm using does not have the full Isaiah 14 verse 12. It just has the important part. It has the word Hillel translated, not the full Hillel ben Shahar, and I'm sorry for that. So you can probably look at it in your own thing, but Hillel ben Shahar translates to shining one, son of dawn. But you might hear as Lucifer, or morning star, or day star, or shining one. It depends on which translation you use. I think there's even a translation out there, but I could not find it, called shining star. And I like to go to some history behind that and talk about that. So the translation I use says, "O shining one, son of dawn." How you've been, "O shining one, son of dawn." Yeah. But for example, the KJV says, "O Lucifer, son of morning." The Revised Standard Version says, "O day star, son of dawn." I believe the New International Version says, "Morning star, son of dawn." So yeah, and the thing is, those translations are interesting because the most accurate translation, at least I know of, is Hillel ben Shahar of the original Hebrew. That is a transliteration. I don't know how to write the actual original Hebrew Hillel ben Shahar or pronounce it, but it translates to shining one, son of dawn, like I said a little bit earlier. But the Latin Vulgate translate is as Lucifer, which means morning star or light bringer. Or depending on who you talk to. I don't think it directly translates it, but I think it's associated with Venus as well. And it was Saint Jerome kind of plopped in there because it was close enough to it. Shining One, Morning Star, Lightbringer, close enough. But then later things kind of blurred it and kind of muddied it a bit, such as then the 1560 Geneva Bible came around, and they just completely plucked the word Lucifer out of the Vulgate and placed it right into it. Not transliteration, not translation, just flat out Lucifer. And it might be translations before this that did the same thing. I am unaware, but that's the one I know of. So that's the earliest I know of is the 1560 Geneva Bible. And as far as I know, it has nothing to do with the Geneva Convention. And then the KJV, or King James Version, came around in 1611, and it just did the same thing. Took Lucifer, just plucked it right in. And the thing is, the KJV came out in 1611, and there's a little known book called Paradise Lost by John Milton. I know, you probably never heard of it, right? Wink, wink. And it told a story of an angel that fell from heaven because of his pride, and the angel was really beautiful, and then it got really pissed and just started to reign in hell, like serve in hell as a king, then deceive humanity. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? And it came out as a summarization of the book, obviously. I'm not going to read the whole book. It's a massive book. I have the Oxford edition. And it's the basic premise. So what happens both in modern day and olden times, what people did is they read a book and they're like, this kind of makes sense, or this fills out this theological box. I'm going to read it into scripture. So stuff like Paradise Lost by John Milton, and also the Divine Comedy by Dante. I always forget his last name. It starts with an A. I'm sorry. Are read into scripture, even though they're basically glorified Bible fan fiction. But people really like them, so, oh well. To be fair, it wasn't most of the Apocrypha in general. And the stuff in the books. And another influential text that doesn't exactly have an exact year it came out. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I forgot. Paradise Lost came out in, I believe, 1674 or 1672. I can't believe I missed over that, or almost missed over that. Anyway, and a apocryphal book that was popular in Second Temple Judaism was popular and is called First Enoch. And it is a story of, not the story of like Paradise Lost, but definitely you'll see some similarities. It's a book about an angel leading other angels astray, coming down to earth, and impregnating human women, or the daughters of man, and making monstrous offspring such as the giants and Nephilim, which I'm pretty sure Nephilim is the right pronunciation, and it's just it's the giants, it's the terrifying creatures, and then that caused the flood. Then God was like, holy hell, this is chaos, and we're gonna flood the whole earth. And that's a kind of why Lucifer is a kind of, where does it come from? Where did the idea of this, fallen angel come from? And those are the two primary texts. That was Paradise Lost and First Enoch. And if you're wondering why I called Dante's Inferno, I was just using that as an example of like how text gets read into the Bible. And second thing, the Bible itself, obviously it says, depending on which one you use, this is O Lucifer, son of dawn, it says O Lucifer, son of the morning. For the KJV, it says the NIV is the morning stars, son of the dawn. RSV is, or Revised Standard Version, is day star. You have LSV with shining one, etc., etc. And another thing that I did not write down, but I did want to note about Lucifer is the there's a thing where people try to say, oh, it's justified, or the idea about Lucifer being a very beautiful, perfect angel before he fell was justified because of a verse in Ezekiel 28. I forgot the exact verse number. I apologize. I'm not good at. This is my first video after all. I'm gonna use that as an excuse. I'm just gonna make the excuse that every video is my first video. And it basically says to the king of Tyre that he holds the seal of perfection. uh, I he. Oh yeah, seal of perfection and perfect in beauty. I believe it says in the translation I use. Well, one of the translations I use that I can remember off the top of my head, because I did not plan for to say this. I'm just doing this off the top of my head with this specific one. And even though it says King of Tyre, there is a book called The Divine. Let's hear The Divine Conflict. And personally, I don't like it, and I believe the person who wrote it is a moron. But he was a pastor for 35 years, and he claims to be an expert in Hebrew and Greek. I don't believe that. He gets a lot of the most basic translations wrong, but oh well. But he does talk about this a little bit more and does explain this very thing I'm talking about. So if you go to chapter 2 of his book, he adds words to the Bible. He's, because in Ezekiel it says, you had the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. But here's the thing: earlier in that same verse, the full verse is, "Son of man, take up a lamentation over the king of Tyre." And here's the specific thing I'm talking about, because it says king of Tyre, then in brackets he puts Lucifer. He's not directly saying, "Hey, Lucifer, this is Lucifer," but he's saying it should be or is implied, which I think is a very shady and sneaky way to alter biblical text, which I do not like. Yeah, I feel like that's just very interesting how people took those verses. Even though it refers to the king of Tyre, and the original verse refers to the king of Babylon, people take it and read it into other stuff, and that's how we get modern interpretation. And another reason is people kind of ran with this. Like, people ran with this whole thing in pop culture, such as, Paradise Lost, First Enoch, but First Enoch is old, but Paradise Lost, people ran with that. Books such as Divine Conflict and Lucifer, the Netflix show, which I actually have watched, and I'll be honest, even though it kind of bugs me that Lucifer is such grip hold in pop culture, it is a very good show. It's well made. I personally like it. It's like a comedy cop show. I recommend it, but oh well. And there's the sigil of Lucifer in one of the grimoires, and it's supposed to be the sigil of Lucifer. There's not much to say about it, or there is stuff to say about it, and I just simply don't know it. It's also Luciferianism. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one, but I do own a book from a Luciferian organization, but I tend not to say their name or similar organizations, because I tend to see them as more nefarious, maybe? They just have certain stuff that I don't really like, and I wouldn't want to show to other people, especially more vulnerable people, such as, for example, they say you can cut yourself, use your blood for magical rituals, and similar stuff such as that. So they are like the, use blood for sacrifice and stuff like that, like you see in pop culture a lot. And I don't want to continue the stereotypes, because there are some legitimate Satanist or Luciferian organizations I actually do like and I think are interesting and have an interesting philosophy, and I don't want them to get dumbed down by, just this book when it adheres to pop culture so much. And I think that's honestly about it. Like, I just wanted to make a quick video talking about it. I don't know how long this recording is. And this video and the whole background video, I just looked up, like a long ocean video. And it's really funny. And now I think it'd be important to do the end bit. And I do appreciate you hopefully watching to the end. If you have any key points, any ways you think I can improve, if my mic setup is not the best, if any equipment you think I should buy, just all questions I'll answer in the description. If you think I didn't go as much into detail on some things, we have questions, etc., etc., just leave all the stuff in the comments. I appreciate it, and plus it helps me my video do well. That's not the main reason. I legitimately just want to hopefully teach. And I guess I did write introduction. I was supposed to at the beginning of the video, but I'm just gonna do a little bit more now. I'm just gonna do a little bit farther introduction. So I've been all throughout the religious spectrum. I've been, atheist, pagan, Satanist, Luciferian, Christian. I looked at Islam. I looked at Buddhism, Jainism. Looked at Judaism. I've looked in depth at a lot of religions, or been a part of a lot of religions. Currently I'm a pagan, both polytheistic and monotheistic, but I do study religion. And throughout this entire video, I said this in the beginning, but I do want you to keep in mind that I do not have an official degree. I am not a professional. I cannot say I'm a professional. In fact, I am not even in college. But I do study this independently. I do think it's very interesting and a very interesting topic of the evolving of ideas. So when I usually say I usually say I study in religious studies, or I study religious anthropology, because I kind of do. And I think that is about it. Have a happy day, I guess. And also, all the sources for this, all the I guess sources for this video, I don't have any links. There aren't specific articles that I've used for this, but some of the books I do recommend I've read is First Enoch or the Book of Watchers, and it is by the Hunter Book Apocrypha. I believe the copyright is by, I think, I actually don't know who owns the copyright. Covent Christian Canonical? Canonical? Coalition, I believe. That's how you pronounce it? Chronicle? I'm sorry, I'm bad at English. English is my first language, but bad at it, somehow. And, it's also made by the same people who made the LSV Bible. So yeah, I recommend the LSV, but, keep in mind, it does not do as well as I think it should do in some ways. For example, it uses the word skies a lot instead of, I'm sorry, not sky. I said that exact time. It uses the word heavens a lot instead of skies, and I'd rather it say skies, not heavens. I feel like it also doesn't do Isaiah 7 verse 14 correctly, because it prides itself on being most literal, but it uses the Greek instead of the Hebrew specifically to confirm dogma, and it's just mainly that reasons. But overall, it's a good Bible that I like, and if you especially use it for more personal use and less rigorous study, I recommend it. So yeah, the 100 Book Apocrypha, the LSV Bible, obviously the Paradise Lost by John Milton. I don't know. I don't have my cover right here on me. It's in my other room, or it's in the other room, not my other room. I wish I had two rooms. That would mean I'm rich. But it is an Oxford edition, and also I recommend you watch the show Lucifer on Netflix. That's not for study reasons. I just like the show. I think any other things I recommend? Not particularly. Although all the other things I could recommend are not related to this topic. I could say, oh, I recommend the Satanic Bible. Oh, I recommend this Bible and that Bible. But at the end of the day, those are not related to the topic. So yeah, have a nice day, and I hope I didn't drag this on too long, just rambling on. So see ya. Oh, by the way, I was gonna cancel the video, but if you want to know what the video is, I think I showed it at the beginning, but also the Ocean 4K Ultra HD relaxation film, peaceful relaxing music, 4K video Ultra HD. I've been muted because I had music in the background, and I don't really like music in my videos. And also it's probably copyrighted in some way, shape, or form. That's the quality. Have fun. And I hope you have a good day, and I hope you can read through all my rambling and hopefully found this interesting video. How long am I gonna say goodbye? I don't know. I'm Midwestern. We don't say goodbye. It takes us 3 hours.